What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take. My name is Matt O'Connor. Today, I am joined alongside Drew Nadler. Drew, we just said it before we hit the record button here today. Super Bowl 60. We've seen some duds in our lifetime. Last year's comes to mind. Well, different story. I'm talking to the wrong guy as far as
Yeah,
that
you're the
goes.
wrong guy about last year. What do you mean that was the
Yeah,
top
yeah, it
five
was
day
one
of
of
my
the best
life?
days of your life. But as far as entertainment value goes for the average viewer who wants to see a good football game, that was a crapper. This one, though, Drew, probably the worst Super Bowl in our lives. But as I have to start off with all our guests, how you doing? How you feeling today?
I am amazing. I am great. Thanks for having me on. Don't you ever disrespect my Eagles like that again. That was probably a top five sports night of my life. Probably number one. Number two is Michigan winning the national championship. And then number three is Michigan winning the Rose Bowl. But that's besides the point. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to take away the greatest night to your sports fandom. Of course, you know what I mean when I say that, though. It was a really shitty,
Oh yeah,
uncompetitive
I
Super
understand what
Bowl.
you're saying. Like if you look at it
Yeah.
from a Kansas City fan, it's probably the worst night of your life. And if you're a Kansas City hater, it was probably the greatest night of your life.
Yeah, for sure. And a
But
lot of people listen. I don't want to divulge too far off because
the
we're here
Kansas
to talk
City Chiefs,
about this year's Super Bowl. But I have to say, as far as that game goes, too, like when Philly's in the Super Bowl under regular circumstances,
everyone hates them.
everybody's gonna hate them. It's Philly against the world. They're greasing up the polls, running rampant, doing their dirty Philly things that they do, and they're the enemy. Everybody's gonna root for their opponent. But I feel like it was almost two hated cities going at it in that Super
Yeah,
Bowl
it's
last
like the
year,
two most
with
hated
everybody had complete Chiefs fatigue from the previous few years and Philly being in it. It was a lose-lose kind of situation for America. But I would almost argue that the average football viewer, not the average people just watching for the commercials or anything, people actually engaged and interested in the football, I would say the vast majority were rooting for Philly. I mean, the Chiefs fatigue was so high. And look where they are now. They missed the playoffs this year. So how you doing? But let's talk about this Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60. Obviously, as I said right off the bat, it was disappointing. At halftime, it was only a through three quarters, it was only a 9-0 football game, but it really never felt like much of a game at all, Drew. Final score in it was 29-13. And I'll lead off with this, and we'll talk about the Patriots offense and the woes that they had. I heard Evan Roberts say this on WFAN earlier today. Considering that, when you look at history and the history of Super Bowls and whatever, and as our memory ultimately fades, and this is going to be a rather forgetful Super Bowl as we distance ourselves further and further from it. But when we look back on things in a number of years, in a decade, in 5, 10 years, we only really remember things in small little bits and pieces. It doesn't even have to be a moment. Sometimes if it's a great game, it's a moment in the game, a defensive stand, a catch, whatever it may be. Other times it's something that happened leading up to the game. But Evan had come out and he said, this is not what I think. I'll say what I think. That this game is going to be remembered by the Drake May dud. I mean,
Oh
he
yeah.
was atrocious in this game. There was rumors, he had been banged up the past few weeks. I think we all knew that. He was not completely healthy the whole way through here. And there was rumors that he had to take a cortisol shot, I think in his shoulder, Drew, do you know?
I have no idea. This is the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, he had to take a cortisol shot. I'm not sure what area it was. It was either I think it was his non-throwing shoulder, if I remember correctly. So he took that leading up to the game. He was banged up. He had been bad all postseason long. Really faced some really solid defenses that the Patriots face all the way through. But there's a reason why they averaged around 18 points per game all the way through in the playoffs. And he never really stood a chance against what they're calling the dark side now, as Seattle's defense just came out and completely obliterated him the whole way through. And the one time when the offense did get going on the throw to Matt, beautiful throw, by the way, there to Matt Collins, right, for the touchdown there. It felt like They were starting to build it up a little
Yeah,
bit
like
on
they have
their
a
ensuing
plan.
possession. Maybe the worst interception I've ever seen in a Super Bowl before. That was just so blatant. It even left Chris Collinsworth speechless, which is like impossible to do because that guy never really shuts up. So that's hard to do, man. You play football, you know the game. Like, what did you see going wrong for Drake overall in the context of this game?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to look at it, you're going to start with the offensive line play for the Patriots. Will Campbell got bulldozed. Then there's saying that he was banged up, all this stuff, but he was getting mauled. The whole offensive line was getting mauled. Seattle just got Drake May in their grasp and just never let go, like the boa constrictor reference that we make a lot here. It's just like they just got him and just squeezed the life out of them. It felt like they just got dominated on in every facet of the game, where it's like they staged their fourth quarter comeback, you can call it, and then it's like it's just then
Yeah.
it just all went to shit. Like they got home, forced May to make a terrible throw, picked off. Then the next drive, strip, recovered, touchdown, nail on the coffin. It's just like you saw the life just get sucked out of them, basically by that Seahawks defense.
Yeah, and Drake May took I think he tied a record for sacks taken by a quarterback in the Super Bowl at 6. He just completely did not have it. Here's their first quarter possessions. Obviously the Seahawks had started the game.
Punt.
Yeah. Seahawks started the game. They get on the board first, 3 points. Patriots, 8 plays, 28 yards. Their
Punt.
second possession, 4 plays, 6 yards.
Punt.
Yeah, correct. I'm leaving out the key word there. Their following possession was maybe the worst possession of all. Immediate 3 and out, 3 plays, 5 yards. Their possession after that, this one, 3 plays, negative 2 yards. There you go. Their following possession after that, 6 plays, 10 yards. Say it.
Punt.
And yeah, then the Seahawks had ended, and then 1 play, 1 yard to end the half. Seahawks ended the first half up 9-0.
Yeah.
And they were backed up into their own territory. We could talk about who you think should have won. By the way, you know what? There was clearly no defined MVP in this game. You could talk about I'm forgetting the guy's name on Seattle who had the interception to seal the game there. Owosu. He's
I think that's
that.
his name.
Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin for that game. You could talk about Jason Myers, who also set a Super Bowl record with 5 field goals.
Jiggers, baby.
Yeah, and then of course you had the punter, who I think is the man left out of this, Dickerson. He was
Just nailed them inside the 5 every time.
inside the five, and the Patriots, their offense was already bad enough, but when you're really pinning them back into their own territory like they were there, hopefully that audio is not coming through. The video, and these ads keep playing in the background on my laptop. But it's already bad enough with the way that Drake May just didn't have it, and he was so banged up during that game. But then you pin him back in your own territory with how good that Seattle defense is. He stood no chance whatsoever. They were 4 of 16 on third down. Somehow, Drew, you look up at the final stats, it was not emblematic. And if you bet Drake May passing yards, you hit the over there.
Yeah, didn't he throw like 235 pass yards in the fourth quarter?
It probably was around that because I think
also he threw a ton of yards in the fourth quarter.
yeah, they had around 70-ish yards of total offense the first 3 quarters. The Patriots did. I think it was like 73 yards, like 5 first downs or something like that. And then you look up at the end. That's of all off. You look up at the end. He had 295 yards passing. Drake May did. So yeah, you're right. He did serious damage in the fourth quarter. And if you were a Drake May passing yards better based off, if you just watch the game, you definitely wouldn't think you hit it. But he had 93 more passing yards than Darnold, who only had 202 on the day. So you talk about the MVP though. It did get awarded to the Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker, who had a phenomenal game. Really, he had 135 rushing yards on 27 carries. And Drew, that was the most forceful offense of this entire game between both teams was the Seahawks running game. Right from jump, you can tell what their strategy was going against this Patriots defense. And Patriots defense, it's not like they have a bad run defense. They have Christian Barmore up there and Milton Williams, obviously. So, two really dangerous threats in the front of that defensive line there. But you could tell what Clint Kubiak wanted to do right from the jump. They didn't really hide it. They were going right up the middle pretty much throughout most of the game. Then once it became a little bit more predictable, they started to veer off to the perimeter a little bit. But it was clear this was Kenneth Walker's day.
Oh yeah, of course. Like right from the jump, as you said, they fed that man the rock. I think he had about half of the Seahawks' total offensive yards. Most of them came on the ground. It's just like their run game punished the Patriots defense. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, punish them. It's almost like death by a thousand paper cuts to an extent where it's like you know it's coming and you're not stopping it.
Yeah, exactly. That's I like that term. You talk about running teams, you talk about death by a thousand paper cuts. It's
Yeah.
always just ground and pound. And they did it effectively. And you know what? It made for a boring game. We didn't get the aerial assault that we love to see. We had a great NFL postseason leading up to it. It's been well documented on our episodes. I mean, both of the Bears games, especially that second one against the Rams. NFC Championship was really good. I saw some people in some YouTube comment sections saying that was the real Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, 100% that was. Those are the two best teams in football at that point.
Right. And this was not much of a football game. Like I said, I mean, it's crazy to think about that. It was only a 9-0 game through three quarters. Well, I mean, what was your take on Mike Vrabel not going for two there? That felt it wouldn't have made a difference all in all, but at the end of the day, I mean, just from a tactical standpoint, like the right thing to do would have been to go for it in that situation, I think.
You're talking about after they scored the first touchdown to
Yeah.
Holland? I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, I probably should have went for two to give yourselves a shot, make it a little closer. But it's like, he believed in his guys. At that point, it was 22-7, right? After the touchdown to
Yeah.
Holland.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like they didn't need the 2-point conversion at that point. Like in an alternate reality, let's just say they get a stop, they go down the field, score again, kick the PAT, and then get another stop, score a touchdown. You go for two to tie the game. But obviously that didn't happen. I think based on the timing where they were in the game, it's like, all right, we're gonna take our point, and we're gonna hopefully our defense gets a stop and get back on the field and keep this offensive momentum going, which obviously didn't happen. But it's the game inside the game.
Game inside the game is right. That was late. There, yeah. I mean, it was the field goal fest. Myers had hit 4 through three quarters. The Patriots get the ball, and Drake May, was it May who fumbled? Yeah, it was right.
Yeah,
Early.
May got sacked, fumbled.
May
Seattle
got
covers. We get our first touchdown to national champion on Michigan, AJ Barner.
yes. AJ Barner, who also had a receiving touchdown in
First
the
touchdown.
NFC Championship. Yeah, he did. He had a huge touchdown against San Francisco. It was only like his second or third touchdown of the year. That was a couple of weeks ago. Then he has this one, first touchdown of the game. It was 5 plays, 37 yards. Beautiful throw from Darnold right there on the crossing route, and a nice catch by him. Yeah, props to the former Michigan man there. Finally broke the dam there. My friend actually had $10 to win 950 for no touchdowns. He bet that before the game started.
Oh man, ooh, he was a quarter away.
Three quarters and no touchdowns. I was like, dude,
He must have been sweating.
he would. You know what's funny? I was sweating for him. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, of course. Because
I,
you want your friend to win money.
I wanted to win money, but I was not only sweating for him, I was sweating more than him. He was like, it's not. He's like, dude, he still was like
Unrealistic.
cool as a cucumber about it. He's like, well, I'm not gonna sweat about this because I just damn well know it's not gonna happen. I'm like,
Yeah, where it's just like you don't. It's like it's so unrealistic to happen where the odds are that big, And the fact that 3 quarters through the game, he had a chance to win almost four figures, I personally would have been sweating that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And then I was looking on Kalshi too through three quarters just to see what the odds were, whatever. And it was like it was becoming the. They're not bets on Kalshi, they're
Their
trades.
trades.
Make of that what you will. It's a prediction trading market, but yeah, no, the odds were like it was the highest bet. You know what I'm trying to say. It was the
Yeah, it
most.
was the high. It was the most betted prop.
Exactly. It was the most betted prop at that point when the fourth quarter rolled around. But Patriots blew any chance of that happening by giving them great field position there. And then he got two touchdowns. And then we talked about the interception that really sealed the deal. And just for good measure, Seattle put up three more points for the final of 29-13. Let's talk a little Sam Darnold here, Drew. I mean, he did not listen, Sam, with all due respect, he was by no means spectacular in this football game. He did his job.
Yeah.
203 yards, like I mentioned, which was actually outdone by Drake May. Completion percentage 19-38. Quarterback rating is 74.7. He did his job. Simple as that. But let's talk about the bigger picture here with Sam Darnold. The bigger picture is a guy who was drafted by my New York Jets in 2018 and a guy who struggled the first few years of his career. There was flashes with his time with the Jets, and most of it had to do with the accentuating circumstances and the pieces around him and the fact that he had no legitimate weapons. He had a bad offensive line. His GM had promised his parents when he got drafted, we're going to build within the trenches. We're going to protect your boy. That was an unsuccessful mission. The offensive line was abysmal in his time with the Jets. There was really nobody to throw to there. So a lot of it was not on him. The Jets failed him developmentally. But he struggled. He struggled, especially his last year there with the Jets was really bad. He had the lowest completion percentage in football and won 2 games. He was on the verge of going 0-16 that season, but they beat in Jet fashion. He beat the Browns and the Steelers late in the season to miss out on Trevor Lawrence and the #1 overall pick in 2021. But he was bad that year, and it was a failure with the New York Jets. 4 teams later, one quarterback school in San Francisco later, sitting under Kyle Shanahan as the backup there. And then getting the opportunity in Minnesota last year when J.J. McCarthy tore his ACL before the season. He gets his opportunity, and he wins 14 games, right, Drew? And all the conversation around him then was, wow, you won 14 games. You're throwing to the best receiver in football by miles in Justin Jefferson. You have the perfect ecosystem. You have a good defense on the other end. And you have a great mentor and coach in Kevin O'Connell. Of course you're going to succeed. It's still Sam Darnold. It's still that bust with the Jets from USC that never did anything, and he'll never really amount to being a quality NFL quarterback. Okay, fine. Wins 14 games, gets trounced in the first round.
Yeah, shits the bed on Wild Card Weekend.
Exactly. It was an uncompetitive game. It was ugly. Vikings, they choked away the division late in the season to the Lions. They lose in the first round to the Rams. He signs a 3-year, $100 million deal this offseason to take the reins as the Seahawks quarterback. And Schneider, the Seahawks GM over there, people were throwing stones at him a little bit. What are you doing? Like Geno Smith, I mean, he's pretty efficient when you look at the numbers with the passing yards and everything. We're really going to get rid of Geno for this guy. Is he going to move the needle that much more? And we all know what happened here. We all know the magical ride he had, and sure, he had JJ last year. This year he had Smith and Jigba, and I'm not trying to put him in the company of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, but Sam Darnold shut the freaking haters up. He shut the doubters up this year through what he did, and then he rose to the occasion in the Super Bowl. He did his job. It was such a clean ride for Seattle all postseason long. It was a tough game against the Rams. Their defense was battle-tested in that game. We'll talk a little bit more about the defense, too. But How impressed are you with the evolution of Sam Darnold? And the question has to be raised, is this the best quarterback comeback story that you have ever seen?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm proud of Sam Darnold putting on for our ginger brethren, making us proud. But I think, in my eyes, this is the greatest quarterback redemption story I've seen, at least. Ridden off by New York, shipped away to Carolina, where careers go to die, just like the Jets. Starts off hot there, then just crashes and burns, takes the backup role with the 49ers, learns, develops, goes to Minnesota, wins the 14 games. Everyone's like, oh, is this a fluke? Is this a one time thing? Goes to Seattle, proves he was worth the money, wins 14 games again, and rides to the Super Bowl and wins. It's a redemption story written out of Hollywood, it feels like.
Yeah, that it really is.
It feels like a Hollywood movie. It just doesn't feel real. That I watched the game like 2 nights ago, and I'm like, Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion. Words that would have never came out of my mouth before last night. Because he's, and the funniest part about this is, not funny, but like it kind of is though. He's the first quarterback out of that 2018 class to win, with the likes of Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
And Sam Darnold, of all people, is the first one to win. It's just bamboozling. Like, there's so many words I could use to describe how I felt, but it's like, it's hard not to root for a guy like that.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of superlatives to describe just how remarkable it is. There's another one of what he was able to do as a Seahawk, and the turnaround story is great. And he's impossible to root against. And here's the thing: like a lot of people talked about, and as I mentioned from the top, I'm not oblivious to this. We're celebrating Sam, and we're rightfully giving him his flowers. But for the average football fan, I mean, the Super Bowl just flat out sucked. It was
Oh,
one of
I am not disagreeing. I think that was a terrible game on all accounts. I mean, if you like defense, I am a fan of defense. Sometimes where it was nice to see some good defense, but oh my god, like I'd rather see some offense. Like from last year's offensive onslaught by the Eagles to this,
right.
it's just like total opposite end of the stick. And even off topic a little bit, this didn't even feel like a Super Bowl. It felt like another game. Like
Exactly.
no one really cared.
Yeah, I heard Sean Marash of WFAN say he felt like this was a Color Rush Thursday game rather than a Super Bowl.
Oh my god, the Color Rush era. What a time to be alive. 2016.
Yeah, that's just the way it felt, and it was disappointing. But you can't say that there are no heartwarming storylines coming out of this. That's my point
There
here.
is.
You can talk about the game itself. The celebration, Drew, was so subdued. It felt like they were celebrating winning a pregame. Like there was not that much raw emotion out there
Yeah,
on the
like it
field.
didn't even feel like the Super Bowl, where it's like, I'm going to use last year as an example because it's the most relevant topic we can think of at Super Bowls in recent history. It's like you have a team going for a three-peat, and arguably the best team in football going at it with two of the most passionate fan bases, where it's like, and these teams have played each other already. Then you look at this year, it's like, yeah, they played each other 11 years ago with the infamous pass down to the 1 yard line. But it's like, it felt like a normal game to me, which is really weird. Because even when my team isn't playing, you could feel the build-up. This was just like, it felt like a standard regular season game with no stakes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And where was I on my point before? Oh yeah, the post-game celebration.
Yeah,
It
kind of went
was
home after
It
that.
was just so like, and no offense to Mike McDonald, he's done such a great job with this group. He's a Super Bowl champion now. We haven't really talked much about him, but he got emotional later on upon reflect. But it just didn't feel like a Super Bowl. I was sitting there, I was standing up from above my couch, watching Sam Darnold get interviewed by one of the NFL Network or ESPN guys or whatever, and he was talking, and it felt like he just won. I won't say it felt like he won a regular. It felt like he won a playoff game, and there was still another round to be played
Yeah,
because
like there
he
was
had the
still more to
champion's
be
hat
decided.
on and the T-shirt, and there was a lot of people standing around. So
Yeah.
it still felt like a significant game, but I just didn't get that sink in right away, and that feeling of wow, the lure of a Super Bowl champion being crowned right now, right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like that.
Yeah,
It's
completely.
just the weirdest thing to describe. Like it
Yeah.
was like, cool, they won the Super Bowl.
And it's weird because the whole country felt like that too. It
Yeah,
wasn't just my experience with it
everyone
or
felt
you.
like that on Instagram, TikTok. It's like it just feels like another game. Like
Yeah.
it's just there was no build up, no nothing.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you know me as far as Sam goes. Like, I understand it. I can, I like to consider myself a somewhat realistic fan. Like, I know what the reality of situations often are. And the reality is, unfortunately, even though, yes, at the time I was screaming and hollering for the Jets to bring back Darnold for one more year, even after his bad year in which we went 2-14. The reality is, though, the Jets were still not ready at
No, of
that point
course
in
not.
time. The offensive line was still a disaster. There was still no weapons in place. The defense wasn't good enough still. The whole entire ecosystem was not up for par for him to perform any differently in 2021 than he did when he won 2 games in 2020. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, I can sit here and say, I think they should have kept Sam Darnold, and we could be talking about the Jets. It wouldn't have worked. And if they had another 2 or 3 win season after that, it would be nearly impossible for him to bring him back because in the NFL, you don't bring back a quarterback for a fifth or sixth year and pick up his fifth year option
Yeah, and
if
he
he
wins
didn't
three
do anything
games.
his first 4 years. So they would have
Yeah.
had to get rid of him the following year after that. So they would have been just putting it off one more year. So in hindsight, I can sit here and say I was upset when he got traded, and I was because I always believed in him and I knew that he had this in him as he has. He talks about his confidence level all the time, but realistically, he was never going to be doing what he did a couple of nights ago with my New York Jets,
Oh, of
and
course.
that's the unfortunate reality.
Yeah, I mean you're totally right there. Where it's like you were a big believer in him, but it just like if he stayed another year in New York, this would have never happened. Firm believer here, and everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And I genuinely do believe him going to the 49ers was the best thing for his career. And wait, so what was the last thing you said? You were making your point. So it had
That
something.
Yeah, no, that's it, man. I mean, I just don't think he never would have won with the New York Jets,
Oh no, of
whether I
course.
wanted to keep him or not. So, but
Like
no doubt about it. I mean, the overwhelming reaction from Jet fans such as myself on social media and whatever, nobody's bitter that he won the game. We're all happy for him. We all,
Patriots.
because as a
Because
human
he
being, he was
won.
excellent. And the sweet cherry on top is that we get to got to watch the Patriots get squashed. So for the rest of the country, this Super Bowl sucked. If you're a regular football fan, it was boring. It was whatever, a blowout. We all sat there and saw it. But there are two people, well, I should say, there are a couple fan bases that if you're watching it through your fan base's color tinted glasses, you're happy. If you're an AFC East fan, if you're a Patriots, Bills, or New York Jets fan, or if obviously you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, then you could look at this through a positive lens. And
You mean the Miami
I
Dolphins?
wasn't too disappointed with the result.
You mean the Dolphins, right? Not the Patriots.
Oh, did I say yeah? The
Yeah,
Dolphins,
the
the Dolphins,
Dolphins.
Bills, and
I love the
Jets.
Patriots so much, where it's like kind of
Oh,
the
Patriots
Dolphins
didn't
are
enjoy
like
it.
they're kind of like the Dolphins, like the irrelevant team in the AFC East. Everyone just kind of forgets about them.
Yeah.
Sadly, because they haven't been relevant since like the 70s.
Yeah. And yeah, no, I mean, we pretty much covered every. And by the way, like, this just wasn't because it was so not close and whatever. But let's just tip our cap to that Seahawks defense. That constant and I talked about Drake May just not feeling it or whatever, but the constant disruption and pressure, and they were running the same blitz, Drew, over and over and
Yeah,
over again.
Devin Witherspoon off the edge came in untouched twice. It's like I saw him creep up the first time. I'm like, all right, they might blitz. He blitzes, comes in untouched. He does it again. Damn, here he comes again off the other side, untouched. It's just like it's like they ran the same thing over and over and over and over again, where it's like they couldn't adjust. Like it was just really interesting to see. Like they just didn't adjust.
They didn't adjust, and Devin Witherspoon. It's funny because he was the one that was able to crack through on all those blitzes.
Yeah,
He had said through on Sirius XM radio,
they
uh,
saw tell during the week. Like the
yeah,
offensive
yeah,
line had to tell, where it's
right.
like if he saw the tell, he was gonna come in untouched. Where we all know as sports people, baseball pitchers tipping his pitches, like Lance McCullers in the World Series, and the Phillies teed off on him as an example. You could use it in any sport. Shit, you could use it in the UFC. For all we care, we're gonna show love to the UFC real quick. And many years ago, when Conor McGregor fought Jose Aldo for the belt, we're going real old here. Feels like McGregor was talking like he saw a tell in his right hand, where he's in the room, the green room, practicing exactly what he did to him during the match, and then bring it right back to where we are with Devin Witherspoon. He saw a tell during the week. The second you pick up on a tell or a tip or anything, it's game over.
Yeah, it was game
Not what
over.
you do in that situation.
And it was that right side of the Patriots offensive line that was just constantly getting
Yeah. It
exploited
was the
there.
right side and Will Campbell.
Then Will
Getting
Campbell was
obliterated,
awful.
obliterated, bulldozed, demolished, a bunch of other adjectives we can throw out there. They
Yeah.
got bullied.
Yeah, they really did. Witherspoon did not specify what exactly it was that they were seeing right there. Obviously, you don't reveal that to the
One,
media.
two.
That
It's
would
like
be
in the room.
stupid. But he saw some premeditated thing that they were doing there, whether they were dropping back or moving up, and they were able to exploit all game long. And listen, Mike McDaniel, I heard people talking about leading up to this game. Excuse me, not Mike McDaniel.
McDonald.
Named Josh McDaniels. Yeah, the Patriots offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. Is he the greatest offensive coordinator of all time? Well, there was no adjustment whatsoever. They got through and sacked Drake May 6 times. Patriots offensive line was a catastrophe. They could not figure it out at all, and it made for a really ugly game for the Patriots. And, tip your cap to the Seahawks because they were not overly impressive, but their offense was not as bad as New England.
Oh, of course. And also, we're going to tip our cap to Christian Gonzalez of the Patriots. The one reason they were probably in that game,
Yes.
yeah, he's not good. He wasn't good in the playoffs. JSN's going to route him up. He seatbelted JSN and Cooper Cup. So I'll give my flowers to Christian Gonzalez, the one reason they were in this game. And then, Matt, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Which offensive line performance was worse in the last two Super Bowls? The Chiefs or the Patriots? Just
Yeah.
abysmal.
That is a really good point, and I haven't thought about. Obviously, have not really thought
It's just
about
a
how
food for
bad
thought
that
question. 'Cause
performance.
we're talking about bad offensive line play and
Yeah,
defensive.
I'll answer the question. Great question. I think it was the Chiefs last year, as bad as the Patriots was this year, because all I can remember, now that I'm thinking back and
Yeah.
putting myself of watching that Super Bowl last year with your Philadelphia Eagles coming up champions, all I remember was Patrick Mahomes running for his life for
Yeah.
60 minutes. I mean, Drake May was getting throttled all game for sure. We all know he took the 6 sacks, but it felt like Patrick Mahomes was running around in circles, which he's pretty good at doing, but he had no chance. He had no chance because Jalen Carden and all the rest of the guys on that Eagles defensive line were relentless. He was even throwing the ball away. His arm was getting twisted around. It was so
Yeah.
ugly. So I'll say that the Eagles made it even worse performance
Yeah,
for.
it's just a food for thought question
Yeah.
because we're talking about bad offensive line play, and like what you said, we'll touch on this quickly. Mahomes running for his life, like like that. Drake May just stood there and just took it, like he could not escape. The pocket just collapsed on him so quickly.
Right. Yeah.
He stood no chance.
Yeah. No chance at all. Yeah. So that's Super Bowl 60 for you in a
Or
nutshell.
like
I
Super
mean,
Bowl shitty.
yeah, it was not one to remember for sure. And when I look back on this, all I'll think of is Sam Darnold's face.
Yeah,
And not your face,
not
Sam
mine,
Darnold's.
not doppelganger over here.
Yeah, yeah, you look a little bit like him, but I'll think of Sam and him getting to the
It looked
mountaintop
like the
really is
weight of the
amazing.
world just got lifted off his shoulders, where it's like, I finally did it.
Right.
Like you could tell, it's just like that sigh of relief. He's like, I did it, and I bet in his head he was thinking, what they gonna say now? What are they gonna say now about me? But like,
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about Sam is that like who will
he'll never.
I agree with you. In the back of his mind, he has to be
He
thinking
has
that.
to be
He
thinking,
has to
what
be
are they gonna
thinking,
say
what are
now?
they going to say now? In the back of his mind, there has to be some subtle jabs at
Malice,
the
like a
organization that
jab,
drafted
man, like
him, like wanting to knock them
angering.
a little. He's never done it. The media and the reporters have fed him countless opportunities to shit on the organization that drafted him, to shit on all the doubters that have left him for dirt over the years and said that he's not good enough. And he never has taken the bait. He always has the most respectful answer, talks about his teammates, talks about the confidence that he has in himself. After the game, talked about the fact that his parents have given him so much confidence over the years. It's just all good vibes with him all the
Yeah,
time. He's never, ever fed into it.
it's a
And
true
that's
professional. He's a true professional, and he's a leader that you're gonna want to go out to battle with. And he proved
right.
it the last 2 seasons that he is a leader that you want leading your troops to battle, to go to war for 60 minutes. He's the guy you want to rally around.
No doubt about it.
And I'll say this really quick. You talk about his confidence. There's the interview with Jason Garrett. I don't remember if it was this year or last year, where Jason Garrett goes over his
Always
draft
this year. I
report.
saw that on
Yeah, I
YouTube.
think it was this year. It was like too many interceptions, too many fumbles, X, Y, and Z, all these negative things. Then at the very bottom, Jason Garrett wrote, "But you just keep coming. Nothing phases you. Yeah, and you're just
Right.
relentless. Nothing can stop you." And that's what you want in a quarterback. And I could not be happier for the guy.
Yeah, no, neither could I, and he's done it. What more can you
Did it.
say? It's really incredible.
He
So
did it.
the parade's tomorrow for all the people celebrating out there in Seattle. I'm sure they're listening to this channel too. It's
Well,
right up there. Yeah. So that's fun for them, and two-time Super Bowl champion, your Seattle Seahawks. Did anything, Drew, from the halftime show or the commercial stand out for you? Any of the, were the real diehards, we're the football people, we're the guys that are honed in on the game that we just talked about for almost 40 minutes. But any of the things that other people watch for, that our moms look out for, impress you? One particular commercial or something?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When the commercials turned on, kind of just went on my phone. I was that bored. The
Yeah.
halftime show, it was all right. Nothing spectacular. Nothing crazy. I've seen better. I've seen worse.
Yeah, yeah. I was not really a huge fan
I
of the
was just
halftime.
whatever.
Listen, I am not going to say anything remotely political about it or say I don't like Bad Bunny because it had nothing to do with the fact
He's very
that at
talented.
all, and
He's
it had
very,
nothing to do. It
nothing
had
to do
nothing to do with the scenery was beautiful over there. They did an excellent job.
it told a story. Like it felt more like a movie than a show. Like it's just constantly moving. Where it's like, and I'm not discrediting Bad Bunny. He is a very talented musician. But it's just like there was no wow factor. There hasn't been a wow factor in like a couple years. Like I think the last good great halftime show, in my opinion, was in 2021 with the Rams and the Bengals, where they bring out these rap icons, where it's
Right.
just like they brought the house down, and it's just every year it's just like just slowly been on this decline, where it's like, is it even worth your time anymore?
Yeah. And as far as this one goes specifically, like you can't deny the fact that me and you could sit here and say we weren't the biggest fans of it, but it did bring in great international appeal. It was
And you know what? That's what the
167
NFL's looking for. The NFL is looking
167 million plus social engagements. Uh, no English songs. I mean, let's be honest
the
about it. At
one
the end of the
Lady
day,
Gaga English part, but you said there was no English songs, to be honest. And the NFL is doing their best to grow internationally, and you have to tip your cap to them. They're getting the hottest international artist where it's like you reach that many people, you're doing something right. And I think it's good for the game of football to grow internationally. But
Yeah.
like
I think it's good too, and that's why they've incorporated all these international games, and there's going to be two games
there's too
in.
many international games in my opinion.
Yeah,
There's a
you
little
could
too
say
many.
that.
It's one about every other week, it feels like. Like, there's no wow factor anymore about those. We can get into that another time. But at the end of the day, this halftime show, as I said, no wow factor for me. Didn't move me one way. It was just mid, I guess you can say.
I thought what was real, the scene, him scoring a touchdown, the whole meme of Bad Bunny scoring a touchdown before any of the teams did and
God, I
whatever.
love the internet memes.
And the beach scene and whatever, the budget expenditure for it and the presentation in of itself. I'm always just as curious about the music and the performance. I'm
Yeah,
always just curious about the presentation and how the thing actually looks.
presentation in
With
it looked beautiful.
the
Like,
production in of itself was actually amazing, and that whole walkthrough and everything. I thought that was really cool. But as an American, as somebody that only listens to music, English speaking music, it just wasn't. I'm not a big fan of Bad Bunny. I understand all the clicks that he generated this year as an artist. He was the hottest artist in America all of this year, not America, globally. I mean, this guy, the numbers back it up. I just said 167 million engagements, and he gets a lot of worldwide attention. So it generated a lot. I think the ratings just came out for the Super Bowl. 124 million watchers reached the Super Bowl, reached that number, and 128 million was the number that Bad Bunny reached. So he beat the actual game in of itself as far as people watching, and good for him. And it was a success, and they celebrated how great it was after. But it just wasn't for me
yeah.
necessarily. But I tip my cap to the
I,
effort
as
there.
someone who is a fan of his music, I tend to like his music. I tend to
You're a
dabble
fan?
in all genres of music, but like I don't know, it just feels like a little bit of a touchy subject to talk about. At the end of the day, it wasn't a bad show. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. It wasn't great. It was mid.
I'll give it was not I'm
The
not going to call it a bad
production
show. I refuse to
aspect,
call it a bad show, which is show wasn't for me.
it wasn't a
And
bad show. It was not bad at all.
yeah, not for me though. Commercials, the Dunkin' commercial was funny.
The
That was
Dunkin' commercial was great. Goodwill Dunkin', that was awesome. All these Boston people.
It
Oh,
was all classic
amazing.
NBC sitcoms and Costanza in there. Duncan has done. Duncan did a couple years ago with Tom Brady and Ben Affleck and all the
Yeah, just
Boston.
all these
That was
Boston.
the real authentic. The whole Boston crew. That
Yeah,
was a couple years ago.
yeah.
That one was awesome. I thought that was that year's best ad. And
Budweiser
then
put out
this
a good
year,
commercial too.
did you like that one
The
with the?
Budweiser commercial? I love the
Yeah,
Budweiser commercial. And
I
no,
didn't
I'm
really
not.
get it.
And for our listeners, no, I'm not endorsing beer products. I am not 21. But I,
You don't have to disclaim that.
who cares? I did like the Budweiser commercial. It was pretty good.
I didn't. I listen. Everybody talks about the Budweiser commercials with, what's that thing that the horses roll called? The thing that they roll. It was supposed to be like catch your heartstrings kind of commercial. Like it was.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand it, to be honest. Maybe if I understood
I
what.
think they're celebrating 150 years this year. Yeah.
Right, but do you know what it was about, or like what was the plot? Can you describe the commercial for me, basically?
Uh, I don't really remember. It was like a horse, and then, like trying to like. Then there was like a little bird.
You
I
just like
don't
it
know.
because it was Budweiser.
This horse jumps, giant wings come out of the back. Like, is the horse about to fly? And then no, just a bald eagle comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess.
That is like celebrating 150 years. Budweiser. I don't know. I'm always a sucker for a good beer commercial. Feels like.
Yeah, and listen, that's the one thing to me, Drew, that's like that bothers me about. There's a few things, but we won't get into all that. But one of my issues with our generation and the way in which the world is headed, as we are early in 2026, is like just how technology is swooping across every
Yeah.
sector of life here.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember when we were growing up,
Commercial.
everything was all the Super Bowl ads. You had food and beverage products. You had Pepsi. You had Doritos. You had all the beer. Anheuser Busch, Budweiser, Bud Light. What up? What's up? Like that was a little bit actually before. Like I was.
What's up? That's like way before our time.
I can't tell you how many times I watched that over on YouTube and where like you had your mix of that. You had then some just general regular products, all the
Geico
Tide
commercials,
commercials.
your
You
insurance
had,
commercials.
yeah. The Tide commercials had that character from Stranger Things. He's great in them. Tide. John Cena in the Tide ads. Even the financial companies would get, but the humor in this year's
Yeah,
commercials felt totally
they're
sucked out. It was all so much AI being thrown in your face everywhere you look. The Claude ad with Anthropic. That one Bitcoin ad. That I didn't even know what they were
notice
trying.
that. I think the only like really funny one was like the Backstreet Boys song that they did, and it was like a
That's right.
it
Yeah.
was like a I don't know, Coinbase I think was the company. Like they did a Backstreet Boys song. It was like everybody like that one. They put the lyrics up. People were singing. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was like the only funny one. You go back 10 years. My God, they used to be the funniest things ever. Off the top of my head, one I remember. It was a Doritos commercial. This guy's wife is going into like labor.
Oh gosh, the
Doritos.
ultrasound. Yeah.
Sonogram's like
That
following
was that a
the
Super
Doritos.
Bowl ad?
I don't remember. It was like an older one, like when we were like younger. And he's like following the Dorito. Then he pulls it this way, the baby just shoots out. Like that's funny. Like that's a good way to promote your product. And like the
Yeah.
Geico commercials were always funny back in the day, and they put in the Super Bowl. It's just like these companies have like lost their touch.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no
No, that
comedic
was.
factor. There's no like comedic factor. Like 2 years ago, I was at your house. Arnold, not gonna Arnold, whatever his last name is.
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he did a commercial. It was
Oh, that
hysterical
was
with
good.
this
Yeah.
accent. He
Yeah.
does
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
State
hysterical.
Farm? Was that State Farm? Yeah. They're
I think
like,
it
all
was
you have to do is say State Farm. He's like, State Farm. They're like,
yeah,
no.
like that's like funny. Like there's
Yeah.
so many funny commercials. Like what's up? Bud Light commercial from like the '90s. Like
Right.
the list just goes on and on. Like Puppy Monkey Baby.
Yeah, Puppy Monkey Bait. Yeah, they've lost their way. I'm not sure we'll ever get. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get back to those commercials, and they really should, because everyone found them funny and would just talk about them forever.
Yeah, and I heard somebody say this too on sports talk radio, and I echoed the set. I think it's worth repeating because it's true. Like, there is, because of the ever increasing popularity of social media and our algorithms, and we consume our own media in whatever medium or way that we want. If we want to laugh and we want to consume our type of media, we will go on IG Reels and doom scroll and watch all these reels, and it's tailored to us. And it
Yeah,
can have the kind of things that we find funny. It can even make those, obviously, none of these big companies that are spending $8 million on a 30-second ad want to offend anybody, so they can't say anything slightly controversial or whatever. We could get fed all that content in our own phones from the own media that we consume. So no, I'm not asking for anything offensive, but we're all in our own little bubble, in our own little worlds,
comedic relief.
consuming our own media. So there's not going to be it's not the way that it used to be. And it was even probably better in our parents' generation and before that,
Yeah, yeah.
before our times. Like, you would watch the soup, people would wait all year long.
Just for the commercials.
Yeah, people reading newspapers and magazines all year long. People wait all year long to sit down at the Super Bowl and watch these commercials, and it would make everybody in the room chuckle. Like that generation is just, it's behind us now.
We
We
need a
we just
little, like a game like that, a little comedic relief would have been nice.
exactly, yeah, especially when you're so disengaged with the product on the field for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, no, uninteresting game. Drew, we're gonna talk baseball on the show, but we ran so long. My computer's actually getting pretty low too. We have
Well,
a
I
lot of
charged
time to
mine.
do.
I charged
Yeah,
mine. I should be good for school tomorrow.
nice. We have that's good. We have plenty of time to do that as spring training is just kicked around. I think it
Pitchers and
starts
catchers
tomorrow.
report tomorrow. It's report days tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're
Baseball
here.
is your time.
What?
Baseball is your time until about April when the NHL playoffs take over.
Exactly. I mean, as soon as the
And
Super
the
Bowl
Colorado
ended,
Rockies would have been eliminated from playoff contention by that point.
the Yankees just put out a video on all their socials and X and whatever. It's our time now. It's Yankees time.
They
So
say that every
baseball
year.
fans
They
turn
say
their
that every year.
attention.
It's like the Dallas Cowboys of baseball. Every year is your year.
No, I don't mean it like, oh, shut up, dude.
I love that analogy. It's our
We're
year.
wrapping up a nice episode, and you got to take the subtle digs. But
Come on, dude. I got. You dig at my Mets all the time. Just let me get one.
yeah, and now your shortstop might be on the shelf for a couple months too. We'll see about
Anybody the
that.
Mets have is better than Volpe.
That's true. Volpe's a terrible shortstop. I have nothing left to defend him with whatsoever.
Send him
Hopefully,
2, 3 years Dagestan and forget.
all I can say about that is hopefully, as Jose Caballero fills in the first couple weeks for him, he takes the job and runs with it. That's all.
Yeah. Volpe
But
needs to get sent 2, 3 years Dagestan and forget.
yeah, I'm done.
You didn't get the reference.
I don't get the reference. No, I
It's a
don't
UFC
know.
reference.
Yeah, not a UFC guy at all.
We know.
All right, so yeah, no, I mean, good show. We made a pretty good episode out of a pretty shitty Super Bowl overall. So
Yeah, you're
pleased
welcome.
with that. And great talking as always, Drew.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem,
Like,
man. All right,
subscribe.
thanks to our audience. Subscribe, YouTube, Instagram.
TikTok.
That's it, and TikTok. Yeah, of course. Drew
Run by
is
yours
the.
truly.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Adios.